He kicked me for disrespecting his mother. Now she calls me madam at my mansion. Please stay with me as I tell my story. And please, do not forget to support our channel by subscribing to our channel, liking our videos, and sharing your loved ones. Your support means the world to us. Now to our story. She screamed at me for using too much salt. That's it. One comment about her overcooked chicken, and suddenly I was disrespecting the matriarch of the household. My boyfriend stood up, red in the face, slammed his fist on the table, and yelled, "Get out!" right there in front of his whole family. I didn't even get to pack. He tossed a trash bag at me, told me I was lucky he didn't throw it all in the street. Now, his mother hands me champagne with both hands, eyes lowered, in my marble hallway and says, "Madam, would you like it chilled next time?" 3 years ago, I was sleeping on their couch. No savings, no job, no family to call. I was just a tired, scared 25-year-old trying to hold on to a man who thought being loyal meant obeying his mother's every ridiculous word. Back then, I cooked, cleaned, and paid half the rent while he stayed on his laptop all day talking about building an app. His mom would waltz in uninvited, open my cabinets, insult my cooking, criticize my clothes, and smile while doing it. "Just trying to help you be a proper lady," she'd say. That night, at her birthday dinner, I made roast chicken with vegetables. I had worked all day, trying to make it perfect. She took one bite, looked at her husband, and said, "Not everyone has a gift in the kitchen." I laughed, just a soft, dry laugh. She looked at me like I'd thrown the plate at her. She said, "What's funny? I'm trying to teach you." And I said stupidly, "Maybe if someone had taught you, this chicken wouldn't be so dry." I swear, the silence in that room could have snapped a window. My boyfriend looked at me like I'd kicked his dog. Then came the yelling. He sided with her, said I was always rude, always ungrateful, said I disrespected the woman who gave him life. And just like that, I was out. No car, no job, one trash bag full of clothes and a frozen account because I had foolishly let him convince me to go all in on his startup dream. So yeah, when I say his mother now calls me madam, I don't mean it like a joke. I mean it like she is on my payroll, because she is. This isn't a fairy tale. It's what happens when you pick yourself instead of people who only clap when you stay small. End of hook, 480 words. Let me know when you're ready to move to the next outline. He was charming in that way broke men often are. Funny, easygoing, always full of big dreams and wild ideas. The kind of guy who could talk for 2 hours about a business he hadn't started, but still make you believe he'd be a millionaire by next year. When we met, I thought I'd won the jackpot. He listened, asked questions, made me feel seen. He told me I was beautiful in sweatpants. Told me he loved how I got him when no one else ever did. I thought we were building something real. Looking back, we were building something all right, a soft place for him to land while I paid for everything around him. He didn't have a job, but he called himself a founder. He was working on some tech app, one that changed every time I asked what it actually did. First it was a delivery tracker, then a dating site, then something to do with shoes. I honestly couldn't keep up. What I did keep up with was rent, and groceries, and the dishes, and the laundry. And her, his mother. She was polite, in that fake Southern Belle kind of way. Always smiling while throwing subtle daggers. Like, "Oh, you wear those kinds of jeans to job interviews?" Or, "Your roast is lovely, dear. I just never thought to use frozen vegetables before." She never said anything directly mean. That was her game. She played victim before anyone could accuse her of anything. And he thought she hung the moon. "She's just trying to help," he'd say, every time I mentioned how uncomfortable I felt around her. "She's old-fashioned. She didn't mean it like that." But she did. She never liked me. Not from day one. I was too independent, too opinionated. I had a job. I spoke up. I didn't let her steamroll me. That made me a threat. I tried to be respectful. Really, I did. But you can only nod and smile through so many condescending little comments before something inside you starts to crack. Meanwhile, he'd sleep until noon, work from the couch, and talk about needing space to focus on his launch. The only thing that launched was my patience. Right out the window. Still, I stayed. I thought maybe love was about supporting someone through hard times. I thought he just needed a break. Some time. Some encouragement. What he really needed was someone to fund his laziness and clap for his bare minimum. And unfortunately, that someone was me. Until it wasn't. Let me know when you are. Ready for the next outline. The roast had been in the oven for 4 hours. I basted it, seasoned it twice, made the sides from scratch. I cleaned the whole damn kitchen while it cooked. Even laid out that tacky floral tablecloth his mom liked. I was exhausted, but I wanted to make a good impression. It was her birthday, after all. She arrived 30 minutes late, wearing pearls and perfume like she was meeting royalty. She gave me one of those fake smiles, air-kissed the air near my cheek, and immediately walked into the kitchen. She sniffed. Smells interesting, she said, then added with a smirk. Some women these days just don't know how to properly season a roast. I laughed. I shouldn't have. It was small, involuntary, more air than sound. But she caught it. She turned, narrowed her eyes, and said in that sugary tone she used before she struck, "What's funny, dear?" I looked up from the salad bowl. I should have let it go. I should have just smiled and swallowed it. But I'd been swallowing for months. So I said, "Nothing. Just wondering if you season your roasts with condescension or just salt and pepper." Silence. The kind of silence that feels like ice water down your back. Her husband froze mid-chew. Her youngest daughter stopped buttering a roll. The only sound was the quiet clink of my boyfriend's fork hitting his plate. "What the hell is wrong with you?" he snapped. "You think you can just insult my mom in her own house?" "She insulted me first," I said, my voice shaky but even. "She was trying to help, but you're too proud to take it. You're always disrespecting her. Always." His voice rose with each word. "She disrespects me constantly." I shot back. "And you never say a damn thing. She raised me. She's my mother. You don't talk to her like that. Ever." He stood up. His chair scraped loudly against the tile. And then, in front of everyone, his parents, his sister, his cousin, he pointed at me like I was trash on his shoe and said, "Get out." I thought he was joking. He wasn't. I walked out the front door with a trash bag of clothes he threw together, holding back tears. No car. No savings. Just my phone, charger, and a wallet with $14 in it. Not one of them came outside. Not even to say goodbye. And the worst part, I still loved him, even as he slammed the door behind me. Ready for the next part? The motel room smelled like bleach and old cigarettes, the kind of place with buzzing lights and stained carpets. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall, wondering how the hell I got here. For days ago, I was roasting a birthday dinner. Now I was sleeping next to a vending machine, living off dollar store snacks, and charging my phone at a gas station across the street because the outlet in the room didn't work. I had no job, no money, no backup plan. All I had was silence and my own stupid thoughts. For a while, I just laid there, angry, embarrassed, mostly just numb. But on night 3, something snapped. I opened the cheap notepad the front desk gave me and started writing a list. Not a to-do list, not some cheesy goals thing, a burn list. Everything they said I couldn't do. Not everyone is cut out for the professional world. You don't have the right kind of personality for business. You should be more grateful for what you're given. She's too emotional. She can't take a joke. She'll never make it without him. I wrote every single line down, word for word, page after page. Then underneath them, I started writing, "Watch me." The next morning, I walked 3 miles in the heat to a strip mall where I remembered seeing a "Help Wanted" sign in the window of a tech office. I didn't have a resume, just clean clothes from the motel sink, a lot of desperation, and a little lip gloss. I walked in and asked for the manager. Told her I'd do anything, answer phones, sort mail, clean coffee pots, whatever she needed. Turns out, she needed a receptionist, someone who'd show up on time, smile, and keep things running. I said I could do that. She looked me up and down, paused for what felt like an hour, then said, "Okay, let's try it for a week." That was it. I had a job. It paid just above minimum wage, but I didn't care. I bought a used bike from Craigslist, ate cereal for dinner, saved every penny. And when the office closed at 6, I stayed late, sneaking onto a spare computer and teaching myself how to use software I'd never heard of before. Google became my best friend. YouTube was my college. They threw me out like I was nothing, but I was about to become the woman they'd never see coming. Let me know when you're ready to move to the next outline. I didn't sleep much that year. I'd work all day at the front desk, answering phones, smiling at clients, organizing calendars, and then stay after hours, teaching myself how websites worked. At first, I didn't understand any of it. CSS, HTML, backend, frontend. It all sounded like a foreign language. But I kept watching YouTube tutorials until things started to click. I'd break things, fix them, break them again. I used the company's old laptop with a missing key, snuck it home in my backpack every night like it was made of gold. My first freelance gig came from a local woman who ran a handmade jewelry shop. She came into the office one day to talk about taxes, and I overheard her complaining about her website being ugly and slow. I don't know what came over me, but I spoke up. "I could fix that for you," I said. "I've been learning web design." She gave me a skeptical look. "You build websites?" "Trying to," I said honestly. "Let me do a mock-up. Free. If you hate it, delete it." She shrugged. "All right. Knock yourself out." I knocked it out of the damn park. Her old site was a mess, slow, outdated, hard to shop on. I cleaned it up, added better photos, streamlined checkout, made everything mobile-friendly. 3 weeks later, one of her necklaces went viral on TikTok. Her sales tripled. She called me crying, said she couldn't keep up with orders. She handed me a check and told 2 other small business owners about me. That was the beginning. I built 5 more sites after that. I charged cheap at first, $100, $200, just enough to keep my lights on and coffee stocked. But with each project, I got faster, smarter. I learned what worked and what didn't. I read books on UX design, studied conversion rates, learned SEO tricks. I started charging more, a lot more, and people paid. Soon I had a client waitlist, a business name, and my own LLC. I left the receptionist job and went full-time as a web consultant. I stopped renting rooms, started renting offices, hired a virtual assistant, filed taxes like a real company. Every cent I made went straight back into growing. Better software, better gear, better branding. And that burn list? It hung above my desk like a trophy. Every time I crossed off a lie they told me, I smiled. I didn't just want to succeed. I wanted to build an empire so big they'd have to walk through it just to remember my name. Let me know when you're ready to move on to the next outline. It started with a petty scroll through Facebook. I don't even remember why I looked her up, his mother. Maybe I was bored. Maybe I wanted to see if they'd finally crashed and burned. Instead, I found a post with a bright, overly filtered photo of her standing in front of a dusty old building, holding a "Coming Soon" sign. Mrs. Carla's Kitchen, homemade southern baked goods. I stared at it for a full minute. She looked proud, like she'd finally found something of her own. The caption said it was her dream project, her second act. I could have scrolled away. Let it be. But I didn't. I looked up the building address. It was in an aging strip on the edge of town. Poor foot traffic, limited parking, and half the units were vacant. Not a smart business move. Then I saw something interesting. She still hadn't secured her food permit. Delayed twice. Local politics. Slow paperwork. And the unit next door to hers? Still for lease. I couldn't help myself. I contacted the leasing agent that same day. Told them I wanted the space. Paid 6 months rent up front. Opened an LLC under a different name. Anonymous. No one would trace it back to me. At least, not right away. I called it Sugar Wired Cafe. Tech meets sweets. We served espresso, artisan pastries, free Wi-Fi, and this was key, charging stations at every table. Clean aesthetic. Neon signs. Pop music. Friendly staff trained to actually smile. Within 2 weeks of opening, college students, freelancers, and young moms flooded in. They loved it, posted about it, tagged it. TikTok made it viral within a month. Meanwhile, her bakery kept delaying opening. I walked past it one day just for fun. Paper still taped to the windows. A faded sign reading, "Opening soon spring," but it was already August. People would park to visit my place, see her dark windows, and walk right past. Eventually, her permit got approved, but by then it didn't matter. The buzz was gone. I had her customers, her foot traffic, her parking. She posted about unfair competition on her Facebook. I almost choked laughing. She didn't know who owned Sugar Wired. Not yet. But I knew. And that was enough. I wasn't trying to crush her dreams. Not really. But if you throw a girl out over dry chicken, don't be surprised when she buys the whole damn coop. Let me know when you're ready for the next outline. The email hit my inbox late on a Tuesday. Subject line: application for housekeeping position. I almost deleted it without looking. But something about the name made me pause. Carla H. I opened it. Read it twice. It was her. His mother. She had no idea it was me on the other end. She had found the job listing I posted through my management company. It was for a live-out housekeeper at my new estate, cleaning, light cooking, lawn, competitive pay. She listed her experience. Home management, cooking, deep cleaning, organizing. No mention of the bakery. No mention of what happened a year earlier. I didn't reply. Not right away. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I closed the laptop and went to bed. I didn't need revenge. I had moved on. Built my business. Bought a home so big you could hear your footsteps echo. I had a chef, a personal assistant, even a pool cleaner. But something about that message stayed with me. 2 months passed. And then she applied again. Same email. Fewer words. Shorter sentences. Her tone had changed. This time she sounded tired. Desperate. So I answered. I told my assistant to schedule an interview. No Zoom. In person. I made sure I'd be home when she came. She walked in wearing flats and a blouse that didn't quite fit. Her hair was thinner. She moved slower. Her eyes darted around the entryway like she couldn't believe the size of the place. She didn't recognize me at first. I'd changed a lot, and I didn't introduce myself. She sat across from me in the lounge, answering questions with quiet politeness. She needed steady work. She'd been through some things. I offered her the job. Triple the going rate. Weekly pay, full benefits. Her eyes lit up. Are you sure? She asked. I am, I said. Just one condition. She straightened. Of course. You'll wear the uniform. And from now on, when you address me, it's madam. That won't be a problem, will it? Her lips parted slightly, like she was going to ask something. But then she closed them. "No, madam," she said. "No problem at all." I smiled and stood. "Welcome aboard." She stood too. "Thank you, madam." I watched her walk out of the room, quiet and small. I never raised my voice. Never mentioned the roast. Never said a word about her son. She had no idea. Or maybe she did. "Let me know when you're ready for the next outline." It was a slow Thursday morning when my assistant buzzed me. "There's a man at the gate asking to speak with you," she said. Didn't give a name. Says it's personal. I checked the security feed. And there he was. Him. Standing in a wrinkled button-up, holding a folder, shifting from foot to foot like a kid outside the principal's office. He looked smaller. His hairline had thinned. His face had that sunken look people get when life stops going their way. I told the guard to let him in. Not out of kindness. Curiosity, maybe. Or a need to see him look up at the mansion and realize exactly what he threw away. I waited upstairs, sipping coffee by the window. Down below, the front door opened, and out stepped his mother, dressed in her uniform, black slacks, white blouse, apron tied tight, hair pulled back. She blinked at him like she couldn't believe what she was seeing. He looked just as stunned. "Mom." She didn't explain. Just said, "Come in. Madam will see you now." I nearly laughed. He walked in slowly, taking in the marble floors, the chandeliers, the smell of expensive polish in the air. He didn't know whose house it was yet. Not really. I let him come up on his own. Let him knock. When he walked in and saw me sitting behind my desk, he stopped dead. "You've got to be kidding," he said, eyes wide. I smiled. Didn't stand. Didn't blink. "Long time no see," I said. He looked around like the walls were about to close in on him. This is your house?" I nodded. "My business. My house. My staff." He swallowed hard. Set the folder down. "I didn't know. Mom didn't say anything. I just needed help. A job maybe. Or a loan. I didn't know it was you." I leaned back in my chair. "Funny. I didn't know you'd be showing up broke, unemployed, and desperate either. But life's full of surprises." He shifted, clearly uncomfortable. "Look, I was a jerk, okay? I get that now. I was under a lot of pressure back then. I made mistakes." "Mistakes?" I repeated. "You mean like throwing me out over some chicken?" His jaw clenched. "That was a long time ago." "Not long enough," I said. Downstairs, I could hear his mother quietly dusting the piano. He looked at me again, really looked. And I think that's when it hit him. She didn't just fall and get lucky. I rose. "Let me know when you're ready for the next outline." He stood in my office, holding that sad little folder like it was going to change something. Like I was still the girl who needed his approval. I didn't think it would end up like this," he said, voice low, eyes darting toward the floor. "I didn't know she was going to blow up the way she did." "If I had known, you would have done what?" I asked, leaning my elbow on the desk. "Defended me?" He flinched. I wasn't thinking straight. "You know how she is." She was pushing me, saying things. "I didn't mean to throw you out like that." "But you did." He looked up. People say things in the heat of the moment. We were all emotional. I cut him off. "You didn't let me explain either, remember?" That shut him up. He just stood there, breathing heavy, like he wanted to say something else, but didn't have the words anymore. "I lost everything that night," I said. "My clothes, my home, my trust. You humiliated me in front of your entire family because I made one joke about your mom's roast. You didn't stand up for me. You didn't even look at me. You just tossed me out like garbage." He stepped forward, folder still clutched in both hands. "I know. And I regret it. I swear I do. I've been thinking about it for years. I wasn't ready for someone like you back then. You had ambition. Drive. I felt like I couldn't keep up. So you dragged me down instead," I said flatly. He opened the folder like that was going to fix anything. "I've got this app idea. I just need an investor, or maybe a partner." I laughed. I didn't mean to, but I couldn't help it. "You're here to pitch me?" He blinked. "You're the only person I know who made it out. You made it big." "No," I said, reaching into my desk drawer. "I made it without you." I pulled out my wallet, took out a crisp $20 bill. "Here," I said, handing it across the desk. "For the bus ride back to her place." He looked at it like it might bite him. "You're serious?" "Dead serious." He stood there for a second, jaw twitching, hand hovering over the bill. Then he took it. Didn't say thank you. Didn't say goodbye. Just turned and walked out. Downstairs, his mother opened the door for him. "Thank you, madam," she said as he passed. "Let me know when you're ready for the final outline." The floors in the main hallway were so clean they reflected the light. I walked slowly, barefoot, glass of wine in hand, letting the silence stretch around me like silk. The kind of silence that feels earned. Behind me, I heard soft footsteps and the quiet sound of silver being polished. She stood at the dining room table, focused, careful, not missing a single spot. "Will that be all, madam?" she asked without looking up. I took a sip. "Yes. Thank you, Carla." She nodded once. "Of course, madam." There was no bitterness in her voice, no sarcasm, just calm, practiced respect. the way she used to expect it from me. Now I got it. Not because I demanded it, but because I built a life where no one could take it from me again. I walked to the staircase, pausing halfway up to glance out the tall windows. The pool lights shimmered in the dark. The guest house beyond it still had its porch light on. My name, my company's name, was etched into the brass plaque on the gate. Upstairs, I stepped into my office. It still smelled faintly of books and peppermint oil. And there it was, hanging above my desk. The list. I had it framed in gold leaf. Not fancy, just solid. Weighty. Real. Every sentence written in messy black pen. She can't take criticism. She's too sensitive. She won't make it without him. She's not that smart. She should be more grateful. She's just not cut out for that world. I'd crossed out each one in red ink, one by one, over the years. A line through every lie. Every dig. Every time they tried to shrink me. And at the very bottom, in bold, watch me. I stood there for a minute, wine in hand, staring at it. Not angry. Not gloating. Just still. It wasn't about revenge anymore. Not really. It was about walking into the fire they thought would burn me down, and coming out the other side with my name on the deed. Downstairs, I heard Carla finish cleaning, her footsteps quiet as she returned to the back of the house. I turned off the light, letting the soft glow from the hallway spill across the floor. This wasn't luck. It wasn't an accident. This was mine, and I'd built it from nothing. Let me know if you'd like the full 7,000-word draft compiled or edited next.